Up with Alexander Downer, the former foreign minister of this great country. Good to catch up with you, Alexander. So much happening when it comes to foreign affairs. I'm pretty keen to get your take on Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. What on earth we're seeing unfold there? Some tentative ceasefire that's being toyed around with because Putin won't buy in full-time on a grand scale.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't expect that on day one. I mean, this will take time, but I think it's encouraging to see gradual progress being made. I mean, the ceasefire in terms of attacking energy and infrastructure is a start. Then there's obviously further discussions that are taking place in the Middle East between the two sides or three sides. So, I mean, people have to be patient. This war is a war that might have killed around 1 million people, is a hugely bloody war which has come to a deadlock. And the important thing is that the two sides eventually agree to both a ceasefire and eventually some negotiations for a settlement. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. So we just have to be patient.
I think you're absolutely right, and this is significant progress in a short period of time, although I suppose the person who most elevated expectations for a quick settlement was Donald Trump, and he's been busy walking that back, but it is encouraging to see this progress. Now, here's his White House spokesperson talking about the latest call with Donald Trump speaking to Volodymyr Zelensky.
The two leaders also agreed on a partial ceasefire against energy. Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea. We have never been this close to peace, and it's only because of President Trump that we are here.
Yeah, that's the way to see it, really, isn't it? That this is a ceasefire and you're looking to expand it over time.
Well, right. I mean, you have to try to think of analogous situations in history. I think the best example was the war on the Korean Peninsula in the early 1950s. Eventually, there was a ceasefire along the current line of demarcation between the North and the South. But I'm sorry to say, not since the 1950s has any successful negotiation led to a peace treaty between North and South Korea. And South Korea has not been able to reunify the country, nor North Korea to unify the country. So it's a deadlock, but it's a deadlock which is not killing anybody. And I think this is the analogy to think of here in terms of Ukraine. You'll end up with a deadlock. Negotiations might start over a peace treaty, some peace agreement. They could take a very long time. The main thing is to get a ceasefire in place first and foremost. And you just have to be patient. These things take time.
Well, speaking of ceasefires, it has fallen aside in the Middle East with Israel now attacking Hamas terrorists in Gaza again. I'm keen to get your assessment of that. And also, you might not have seen it at the top of the programme, but I ran an old speech by Noni Darwish, an Egyptian-American who grew up in Gaza. And she outlined, I think, in really easy to understand terms, this sense that the Arab world has never really wanted to settle the Palestinian issue. They like the idea of this permanent refugee Palestinian class keeping pressure on Israel and being an excuse for any problems in the Arab world.
Yeah, I'm not sure I quite share that view. I think there are a lot of reasons for there being problems in the Arab world which have nothing to do with Israel and everything to do with the structure of Arab societies, which are very diverse. They're not unified and you can't generalise about them. But look, the Hamas people want to continue to hold the hostages and the bodies of those that they've already killed rather than hand them over. I would have thought if you were interested in peace, you would hand over the hostages.
Absolutely.
And peace will be achieved. There'll be no need for further fighting. For as long as they hold those hostages, there will be fighting. I don't see the fighting ending until either we know all the hostages are dead or they're handed over. The ones left alive are handed over. Otherwise, the fighting will just continue. And Hamas seems to be happy with that.
Yeah, just going back to that theory is certainly not suggesting that Israel is the problem of the Arab world, but that Arab leaders like to use it as an excuse for any of their problems. It's this sense of Arab victimhood, if you like.
I don't think, no, I'm not sure that I would really buy that. I mean, I think their problem with the Palestinians, as they're called, is that these people have become very radical. And so moderate Arab leaders like the President of Egypt, the Gulf leaders, the King of Jordan, these moderate Arab leaders, they don't really want too many of these Palestinians intruding into their territory, because the Palestinians are overwhelmingly supporters, so as opinion polling shows, overwhelmingly supporters of Hamas. And these Arab leaders are very anti-Hamas and the extremism of Islamist organisations like that. I think that's much better explanation for their attitude to the Palestinians.
Excellent stuff, Alexander. Thanks so much for joining us. Alexander Downer there, live from Adelaide.